Thank you. Over 20 years ago, I had an abortion, and it was the worst thing that I ever did. You see, society wants to tell you that abortion is a quick fix, and we are here to tell you abortion is not a quick fix. It is a lifetime of consequences. When I walked into that abortion clinic, let me back up. When I was driving to the abortion clinic, I was actually talking to God because I didn't want to have an abortion, but I just felt so distraught and so full of pain. I felt alone even though I wasn't. But the evil one confuses you. He uses our wounds against us to prey on us. And I was telling God, I'm not going to really kill my daughter, because at that time I actually believed it was killing a baby. And I said, Lord, I'm not killing my daughter. I'm just going to go there. There's going to be pro-life people there in front of the abortion clinic. They're just going to hug me and tell me it's going to be okay. And so when I pulled up, there wasn't anybody there. And my heart dropped. And at that point, I felt committed. And I felt like a zombie almost. And in my mind, my voice was saying, like, run away, just go away. You don't have to do this, just run away. And I couldn't. I didn't listen to it. I just stood walking to the abortion clinic. And when I was in the abortion clinic, I was sobbing so much I couldn't even engage in simple conversation. They called me back. The abortionist laid me on the table, and she said, or the abortionist assistant laid me on the table, and she said, "Is this your first abortion?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "You have so much fear in your eyes." And she told the abortionist, "Come here, look, she has so much fear in her eyes." And the abortionist told me, "Don't worry, it's no big deal." And that's the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life. Don't worry, it's no big deal. She inserted a needle into my abdomen, and instantaneously my daughter started kicking and twisting and punching me. You see, I was 6 months pregnant when I decided to end the life of my daughter. Don't buy the lie that late-term abortion is to save the mother's life, because it's never once saved the mother's life. And you could talk to doctors about this, because when you're that far along, late-term abortion is a multi-day process. If it's to save the mother's life, they have a cesarean, which just takes under an hour. So late-term abortion, there's not one instance where it saved the mother's life, because if her life was truly in danger, she would have a cesarean to get the baby out. So it was at that point when my daughter started kicking, fighting for her life, I kind of woke up and I said, "Oh my God, what am I doing? Lord, what am I doing?" And the process lasted under 10 minutes, 5 minutes. They moved me to the next room pretty quickly. At this time, there were several other ladies on little cots. They lined us up like sardines, turned us to the side, gave us a little orange juice and a cookie. And they said, "You could lay here for 30 minutes and then come back tomorrow," because, like I said, it's a multi-day process. Well, when I left, I was so horrified at what I experienced. I drove to my mother's. I told her what I did, and she was completely in shock, because remember, I knew what I was doing. She taught me that abortion is killing a baby. I was Catholic, but I was so alone and so afraid, and I thought I didn't have any choice. And like pro-life leader Frank Pavone says, women choose abortion not because of freedom of choice, but because they feel like they have no freedom and no choice. And by the way, he was supposed to be here today. He got caught in D.C. His flight was canceled. He tried everything he could do to be here, but he just didn't make it, so that's why he is not here today. He got stuck in D.C. because of the storm. So my mother then takes me to the hospital. I try to save my daughter's life. They hook me up into the monitor, and the doctor, the OBGYN at the time, said that the baby's heartbeat was fine. The baby's, I don't want to get the microphone too much. Sorry. That the heartbeat that they heard over the monitor was fine. And so I thought everything was going to be okay. They were going to help her. Well, a few hours later, they consulted a specialist, and they said that the chemical they gave me in my abdomen would soon stop my daughter's heart. So they encouraged me to go back to the abortion center to finish the process because it was easier. And what that means is it is easier to take her out because they take her out piece by piece. That's what they do in late-term abortions. They take them out, they rip the legs and the arms off. And I said, after my experience, I will never go back there again. And so he told me to come back the next day because by then my daughter would have passed. And I did. And she had passed. And they induced my labor, and after 7 hours of labor, I gave birth to a beautiful, beautiful yet lifeless daughter named Lenore. They put her on my chest, like they do when you have newborn babies. I caressed her. I told her, "Mama, sorry. I'm so sorry. I was just so confused. I didn't know what else to do. I'm sorry." Family members got to hold her. I wrapped her up like you do newborn babies. I was just hugging her. And after about an hour or two, the nurse came in and they said, "It's time." And I had to give my daughter to the nurse, and she carried her out. And a few days later, my family was left with the daunting task of planning her funeral. And now she's buried in a cemetery in Southern California. You see, abortion kills the baby and destroys the mother, even if they don't know it. You hear these people and you will see women fighting for abortion. They're having the Women's March right now because they want rights to kill their own child, because that's how confused they are. That's how the devil uses their wounds against them. Can you believe people actually fight to kill their offspring, to kill their flesh and blood? That is what's happening. And it's important that we share our testimony so you can know how painful abortion is to the woman, not just to the woman. I had to tell my 7 children that the same mother they knew, who nurtured them, who fed them, who danced with them, who was overprotective of them, was the same mother that took the life of their sibling, the same mother that stopped them from bonding with their feeding, with their dancing, with their playing, with their... As you can see, I mourn my aborted sibling. My children are in pain because there's always one missing. My parents are in pain because that's their grandchild. I regret losing my grandchild to abortion. My mother wears this shirt, and you see these feet right here? When my daughter was born, they imprinted her feet on paper, and I use that. These are the actual size of her feet when she was born. It has traumatized me. It has caused me so much pain. Abortion not only kills the child, it wounds the mother, the families. It stops generations from ever existing. But God Almighty, Jesus Christ has healed me. And I stand here today through the grace of God because He has healed me. He has healed all of us. And that's why we are silent no more. If you want to hear our testimonies, read other testimonies, watch other videos of our testimonies, you could go to silentnomoreawareness.org. Thank you.